Graham, thanks for joining us.
No trouble.
We'll start things off with the news of the morning. What was behind the decision to part ways with head of football Brad Lloyd come the end of the AFL season?
Yeah, difficult decision, but we'd had ongoing conversations with Brad over the last sort of 2 or 3 months, really. He's been here 7+ years, I think, and given great service to the football club. But we just feel that it's right time for a change in leadership of the football department.
The announcement was made last week that your recommendation for Michael Voss to remain as Carlton's AFL senior coach was unanimously endorsed by the board. Can you inform Carlton fans of the reasoning that Vossy is the right man to lead the club?
Yeah, well, we looked at a whole range of data and statistical information around the way we play and the way we've performed. But then also too, a lot of conversations with our football staff, with coaches, with players as well. And it was arrived that he's our man to lead us into 2026. And pleasantly, the board endorsed that.
Just on that, based on some of those reasons that you said kind of came to the fore, what were, I guess, some of those reasons behind Vossy remaining?
Yeah, across the board, I think there was collective ownership around our performance. So it was players, coaches, staff. It wasn't just on one person, and it was pretty much unanimous across the board that Vossy was the person for us. He's a great leader. He's driving the football program in the right direction, and overall, we combine that with the data that we put together. We felt he was the right person.
Big week for you. Plenty's been made of the CEO transition from Brian Cook to yourself, which will be made official this Friday. How have you found working alongside Brian this year?
Yeah, been fantastic. Yeah, Brian and I have got a great relationship, and our wives, Tracy and Claire, have become friends, and I regard Brian as a friend now. He's been a great mentor to me over this period of time, and taught me a lot. And I feel like he'll continue to do that. He'll be a resource for me for the next couple of months, but I'm sure into the future I'll be making phone calls to Brian to bounce things off him.
You spoke a little bit last year about what CEO you wanted to be and what your leadership style is. What's the last 9 months taught you or reinforced to you about what you want to bring to the role?
They're big roles, and this is a big football club. It's one of the really big ones in Melbourne, obviously, and it's taught me that there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of different areas that I've found out a lot more about. Obviously, I've been involved in executives for quite some time, so I understand the way the football club should work. But overall, I've learned a lot, and it's taught me, and Brian has taught me a lot over that period too.
You've had the last 9 months to take stock on, I guess, every aspect of the Carlton Footy Club. What have your key observations been?
Oh, we're in a really good place, particularly financially, and that's a credit to previous boards and CEOs that we're in a really strong position financially. But in the end, we're a football club, and our performances on the field haven't been good enough in 2025. We need to get better, and every decision I make from here on in will be about how do we get better on the footy field, and how do we get better in the football department, but also too keeping a close eye on the rest of the club.
I'm sure you've seen some of the commentary that you're a supposed agent of change. I'm not sure what you make of that tagline, but what do you make of that commentary, and how would you describe your leadership?
I don't read or listen to a lot, but I have heard that, and it's a little bit frustrating. I think I was at Hawthorn for 14 years, and that whole time Clarko was there, so wasn't too much change in relation to that. And obviously Nathan was out of contract when I got to Collingwood, so that was a decision after 10 years. So 10 years of his coaching, sorry. So overall, I'm not quite sure the agent of change where that comes from, but a little bit disappointing, but there's not much I can do about it.
How would you describe your leadership style?
I think I'm a values-driven leader. I think that's probably why Brian and I get on well, that he's very much the same. Our values are really aligned. So I like to think that I'm honest and upfront and empathetic to people. But in the end, we need to make really strong decisions about what's best for this football club and what's best for the football department, and we'll be doing that.
When you speak of those changes, and following on from this morning's announcement, will there be more change coming to Carlton's AFL program this off-season?
Potentially. I mean, there's always change around players, and it's been put forward. We've got a number of coaches who are out of contract, and we're hoping to solidify where that sits in the next couple of weeks once we get through the season. But there's always change. If you're standing still, you're going backwards. So we'll have some change, but exactly what that'll be the coach and the new head of footy, I would have thought, once we get to that appointment.
Names have been bandied about in the media in recent weeks when it comes to potential arrivals. What kind of profile of personnel is the club looking to bring in?
Yeah, we'll look at every potential candidate from a head of football, if that's what you're saying. And we haven't approached anybody at this stage, so we'll get through and show the due respect that Brad deserves. He's done a good job over a long period of time through really tough conditions at times. So we'll get through this next couple of weeks and we'll look at it after that.
I guess will you look to people that you've potentially had experience with in the past?
No, I haven't had any contact with anyone at this stage, but we'll be open-minded in relation to people I might have worked with in the past or not, to be honest. But our expectation will be is that process will kick in once the season's finished, and we'll be going full steam ahead, trying to land the best person we can.
Will any potential decisions be entirely at your discretion, or will those calls be made in conjunction with the incoming head of football?
No, I like to think I'm collaborative, and that we'll all have a say, basically.
Let's get into that time of year where conversations naturally turn to what the AFL playing list is going to look like, given your history and experience. How involved will you be in the list management space?
I'm on the list management committee, so I'm part of that. So I'll have a bit of involvement, but that's Nick Austin's area. So overall, him and Vossy will have a big say in relation to what we do there. But I think it's going to be a busy off-season for us, and particularly around players and how we get better. Obviously from a depth point of view, we need to add some players, and potentially we've got a couple of a father-son and an NGA player that we might look to as well. So there'll be a bit going on for us through the trade period and the draft.
Two players that clearly have decisions to weigh up are Tom DeConing and Jack Silvani, who both find themselves as free agents at season's end. Do you have an update on the club's stance on the two of them, and have deals been offered to make them stay at Icon Park?
No, I don't have an update. They both had contracts in front of them for a couple of months, but as you said, they're both free agents. And as a free agent, I'm really strong on this, that you've got the right to have a look, and both those players are out there in the market, so to speak. And we certainly hope both would stay here at Carlton, but we know that the reality might be different, so we'll work through that as they come up.
There's also been discussion about the futures of senior players, among them Charlie Curnow, Harry Mackay and Sam Walsh. Will they be at Carlton in 2026? All
required and all contracted.
That's a classic answer from you. The club attacked the draft this year. We've seen 7 AFL debutants in 2025 alone. What will the club's strategy be from a player acquisition standpoint come season's end, and what profile of players the club are going to look at?
Listen, I think we'll look at anyone who's going to make us better and improve our depth. I think one of the things that's come out of the back half of this year is that we've had a number of injuries to our senior players, which has given opportunity to our younger players, and sometimes out of adversity comes opportunity, and a lot of those guys have stepped up and played some good footy. So we're hopeful that they have big pre-seasons, and we can improve our depth naturally through the players that we've got here, but also too that we can add a few players through this period as well.
As you mentioned, it has been a disappointing year for the club, and questions have been asked just about from everywhere about everything, whether it's game plan, list management, injury prevention, or the culture of the club as a whole. In what areas do you think the club can improve and needs to improve?
I think all of the above, to be honest. I think we can improve in every area. As I said, we haven't been good enough. I will say our medical and conditioning team have done a good job this year off the back of a lot of soft tissues last year, but we've had a lot of collision injury issues this year, whether they be knees and ankles and shoulders and those type of things. So they're hard to, I suppose, guard against. But overall, that area's done well. But we need to get better in just about every area.
What does, success look like for Carlton in 2026?
Yeah, we've been given some pretty clear feedback. We're 14th right at the moment, and that's not good enough. So we'll be doing everything we possibly can to get better next year across the board. And as I said, that starts with even this week. We've got a game, 2 games to go, and we need to get as much as we can out of these, and with a clear expectation that we're better in 2026.
You mentioned this towards the top. Is the club's focus on football first and foremost?
Absolutely, 100%.
In what areas can the club look to improve that, or is it just that is matter of fact that's where the club's focused?
Oh no, it's a massive focus of ours to get better in football. We've done some things right, but can we get better across the board? Absolutely, we can, and we'll be working on that basically from now.
It's probably not the way you or the club envisaged or wanted 2025 to pan out from an AFL perspective, but guess, how are you going, mate? Because how are you feeling ahead of this Friday's official commencement day? 'Cause it's been a bit of a wait for you.
Yeah, it feels like it's been going for a while rather than just kicking in on Friday. But no, listen, it's been a good lead in. I haven't quite flown in under the radar as I would have liked, but that's part of the role. And as I said, they're big roles, and Brian's done a great job leading this football club over the last 4 years. So we'll recognise him at the end of the week as well, and we'll move into it on Monday.
As one season starts to come to a close, another's just about to kick off.
Yep.
How are things placed for our AFLW team leading into the new campaign? What have your observations been in regards to the program heading into season 10?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the program in the pre-season. It's a long pre-season. The girls have been going at it for a fair while, but yeah, it'd be great to kick off against the traditional rival, Collingwood, on Thursday night. And hopefully we've got a big crowd here and all our members get along. But no, the girls I think have done a good job over the winter period from a training perspective, and our results in the two games, our two practice matches, have been encouraging. But we've got a fair bit to do on that program as well from a later position. I know the men's, we were 14th. I think the girls were about 13th. So we've got a bit to do on both programs, but showing some good signs.
See you at Icon Park on Thursday night.
No, appreciate it. Thanks.